Welcome to the Post for All Seasons Sports Show. I'm Drew Rubenstein. I'm joined by publisher Dave Racy. And Dave, the Mountaineers are a couple days removed from a 37-0 defeat at Maryland. The worst loss, shutout loss for the Mountaineers in 12 years. Fewest offensive yards that West Virginia has had in a single game in 11 years. And it's the worst start for a WVU football team since 2008. I think the obvious question coming out of there is a two-parter that I want to ask you that may seem similar, but I think they're very different. Is the seat underneath Dana Holgorsen getting warm? And the second one being, should it?
I don't think it's getting warm. Again, I think we go back to the guarantee. Was it up to 6 years?
$11.3 million after this season.
And, you know, I think obviously Oliver Luck made a commitment to him, maybe when bringing him in, that he would have a certain amount of time, and he backed that up with a financial guarantee, so to speak. So whether it was good or bad, I think that's the facts of the matter is, I think that, Coach Holgorsen will be here for another 3 or 4 years. That said, that gives him does give him time to get his own program established. I think it gives him a very good, fair look. So, and I think, it's only 2 games in. I mean, it's, who knows? They could beat Oklahoma State. Crazy things happen in sports, and, if they can end up with another 6-6, 7-5 record, or even a 5-7, that's not the end of the world. And then, next year will be another time to judge. So I think it's too soon. And not that people are happy with that last game, but I think it's too soon yet to rush to judgment on something like this.
Okay. Going into the next part of this conversation, WVU is 4-8 over its last 12 games, 2-10 in its last 10 games against BCS level opponents. Is the program regressing, or do you think that's too small of a sample size at this point?
Well, I think they had a run of, Pat White, Geno Smith, they've had a run of good athletes here. You give credit to, Coach Stewart and his staff, Coach Rodriguez and his staff. And with the switch to the Big 12, and we mostly have coaches, well, we brought in some new ones, the coaches who have been here before, to establish their recruiting, areas. We used to have so much success down in Florida, getting those good players. Now, maybe we don't have those anymore. I don't know. But, he's going to take a while to establish his recruiting areas, his strengths and things like that. I think he's been sort of probably trying to play catch up a little bit right now. And his staff's, moved around a little bit. He's got some guys here with some West Virginia connections now, so they may be here. But maybe we can't recruit the Eastern, Philadelphia and D.C. in those areas because we're playing most of our games on the road in Texas and things. I'm not too sure what's going on that way, but they had a good run of talent here, and he needs to come up with some, talented playmakers like were here before so he can compete. And until we do, we won't have trouble competing against, the Big 12 schools because they always have some good athletes.
I think moving forward with the guaranteed money that Dana Holgorsen's over the course of the next, I think, 5 or 6 seasons, he's guaranteed $11.3 million after this season. So it seems like WVU has invested in him, as you indicated. That said, when Oliver Luck did make this hire, he kind of laid out the checklist of things that he's looking for in a football program heading towards a national championship. Excitement for the fan base, installing an up-tempo offense that's scoring a lot of points. Has Dana been given enough time, or what does he need to do to prove that things are still going in the right direction this season, or how much time does he need should he be given to get a fair shake of things?
Well, that's up to the manager, but I'd say that I would say he needs this year, maybe next year at least. That's short term, but I'm sure they're going to give him the long term. But he should show some progress, even a little bit of progress this year, and then more progress the year following that.
I think you wonder too after the Maryland game, is it a combination of just personnel? Our defense is starting to figure out Dana Holgorsen's offensive system? Which way would you lean towards? Is it more that he just maybe doesn't have the players, or they're inexperienced, or our defense is figuring this thing out?
Yeah, I think he's, when you have 3 quarterbacks and you're still unsettled, I don't think that's a good sign. And, it looks like they haven't established the running game as well as they had hoped. That may be, offensive line woes. I'm not sure on that one too, but whatever reasons they're not getting it done offensively. That's his strength, and I'm sure if he knew how to fix it, he would. So I would have to go back to the personnel may just not be what he needs right now.
Last one off of that, then. Bill Stewart's final recruiting classes, they didn't sign a whole lot of players. Certainly there was a lot of talent because that's the classes that included Tavon Austin, Geno Smith, Stedman Bailey, Joe Madsen, among others. That said, when you look at the current WVU roster, I think they have 13 seniors. 4 of those were transfers that were brought into the program, so they're not guys that have grown up 4 and 5 years into the program. We're 3 years into the Holgorsen regime. Is that not an excuse, or does that type of thing come into play here?
I think it comes into play. I mean, most good teams have a lot of seniors who've been in the program. So this is his 3rd really full year of the program, of the Holgorsen program, and so he needs some of his kids, another 2 years or so that will be there, and he'll have a good senior class, and then we'd be a better judge. But, still a little bit early. It's just unfortunate things aren't looking better, because it's hard for fans they don't like to travel all the way to Maryland and get all excited about the game and then have that end up, not the coaches or players do either. So, it'll be interesting, but I think that, we'll have to see how the season goes on from here. That was, they haven't been impressive yet, but that was not obviously a good showing, and we'll see, rest of the season how they do.
There is more to the season, and I take back what I said the last one. I do want to ask you one other thing. As you've observed and covered the Mountaineers over the seasons, has the atmosphere or the necessity to win now and to prove things immediately, has that shifted, or has there always been this sense of urgency that there seems to exist right now?
I think for people who care about football, there's always been that sense of urgency, and there's just more of them now. There's more fans, and there's more interest, so it's probably increased more. But no, there's always been sort of a sense of urgency, I think.
All right, very good. Dave, I appreciate you joining us, and please continue to check TheDPost.com for all the latest on the Mountaineers.